I, I can't even tell you how much I am honored, how much of a privilege it is. Thank you so much. Auntie Excellence, thank you for being here. Eketi, I cannot use auntie for you. I'm sorry.
Prophet, honor, hometown, put it together.
Whatever. Okay, so happy International Women's Day from me to everyone, particularly to the awesome women who are here with me. So, just quick introductions. We're going to start with Auntie Chichi. And Chichi, just quickly introduce yourself, and then we go to Eketi and Excellence, and we'll get the show rolling.
Okay, my name is Mrs. Chinemema Omesaka. I'm passionate about teenagers. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. What else? I'm a business person. I'm a public servant. Yeah, basically anything teenagers, young adults. I'm a TV presenter, a radio presenter, and producer. I'm a publisher. I'm an author, and I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm a counselor too. I'm a counselor too.
So many things rolled in one. I know. I've been a recipient. Thank you, ma.
Thank you for
Okay,
having
so
me.
welcome, ma. Thank you for being here. All right, so Eketi, we move to thee.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eketi Idima Ete. Good afternoon to my esteemed panel of judges, co-debaters, and the audience. I am here to. My name is Eketi Idima Ete, and I do many things, but primarily I am a lawyer called to the Nigerian bar. I'm also an author, a content creator, a thought leader, and a public speaker. I also teach on the occasion. And what else? I'm also very passionate about mental health, especially for young people and for women and children. My goal in this life is to chop money. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, no words for you, sorry. But welcome. All right, Excellence.
Okay, thank you for having me. So my name is Excellence Enrica Joshua. I'm a biomedical lab scientist by training, and I still practice. I have interest in telemedicine, technology, and women. So I do some technology stuffs here and there. Then I'm an online media consultant. We basically help businesses leverage the internet to grow and also drive sales, basically. Then I'm a teacher. I have an online school where we primarily teach women on technology-based vocational skills, and then we put them out for job opportunities, coaching them all through the way. So basically, I want women to make more money and have money on their own. So that's me.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, y'all know me already. Your in-house legal informant. And I I find it a total privilege to be on this show this morning or this afternoon, actually, with these amazing women. All right. So, the 2021 International Women's Day theme chooses or says, we choose to challenge. And I'd like to just ask us, we have our individual journeys. Excellence is in tech, and Chichi is in business, in communications, TV. Eketi is in writing, the law, and all of that. And each of these is a different path. We've all had our journeys, we've all had our struggles and all. And when we talk about challenging things, we need to know what exactly are we supposed to be challenging, you know? What are the stereotypes? What are the things that you have met in your personal journey that you look forward to be able to help other women challenge, say no to, get past it, and all of that? I think that's the best place to start this conversation from. So, Auntie Chichi, we'll start with you.
Okay, if I got the question clearly, you said what are the things we should challenge women? Can you repeat the question again? I struggle to hear you.
Okay, so I was saying that I was asking, you've had your own personal journey. Everyone here is practical on a different path. Excellence is in tech, you are in communications and public service and all. There are, would I call it pitfalls or certain challenges that you've had, stereotypes you've had to break through in your personal journey to where you are now, to all of the things that you have become. And we would like to have you share a bit of that with us, because the whole idea behind this is to let women know the things that we have experienced in our personal journey and how they can overcome these challenges, these stereotypes, as it were.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. I want to also say a big thank you for having me. I'm super glad to be here, and also thanking the other ladies that are on here. I believe that we rise by lifting others. You know, sharing our struggles, our stories would help a lot of other women out there to find
True.
expression. So thank you all for being here and supporting my friend Barrister Favor. I would say it hasn't been easy, especially with the angle I took. But when I started working with teenagers, or the burden to work with teenagers was there, I didn't really find anybody I could go to say, these are ideas that I have. These are the things I want to do. Yes, I worked with a newspaper, a daily paper for a while. I was trying to look for a TV station that I can work with. I couldn't find as of then, but I worked with a newspaper. I did IT with them. By the time I graduated, I went back. They gave me opportunity, but they were not doing what I wanted to do. Nobody was reaching out to, teenagers, or there was no magazine that had to do with. So what I did was to go back to start making a lot of research, a lot of reading and checking globally to see. Yes, I didn't find so much, but I was able to just take one or two things from different places. What am I trying to say? A lot of us women out there, we have ideas of things that we want to do. Even if there is nobody that is doing it, believe me, when you go online, that's the best thing that we have for our generation. We have the technology, we have the internet. There is someone that is doing what you want to do that is maybe in another part of the world. Don't limit yourself to what is there. I mean, I could have limited myself to what is around. Everybody is doing the same thing, doing the same newspaper, talking about the same thing. But because I was so sure that I'm supposed to reach out to teenagers, and because also there was nobody doing it, I shouldn't have folded my arms to say, okay, let me just follow the status quo. So as women, we need to break the status quo. You shouldn't wait, to try and stay on the queue and follow every other person,
Trends.
knowing that this is not what you're supposed to do is very clear to you. So I'm talking to women that understand what they want to do first. If those things are not within your reach, go ahead and research, go ahead and read, ahead and do all manner. I mean, read up, ask questions, and then start what you want to do. Don't follow status quo. Don't say, okay, because everybody is doing this, let me follow the queue. You will get lost. So don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to follow your heart. I think that was one of the things I did, being able to do a lot of research. By the time I started with the magazine, I continued. It was a lot of, I can tell you, it was a lot of struggle. It still is, because the sponsorship is not there, it's not flowing, because people are still wondering, teenagers, do they need sponsorship? Do they need to sponsor their programs and all that? So I'm still pushing, I'm still doing this, but believe me, the impact has been is greater than what I envisaged. When I started, I just felt okay, let me just reach out to few people around me. But the impact has been huge. So I started by printing magazine, I moved on to doing radio, then graduated to doing TV. And these are things that I couldn't find anybody doing it. I couldn't find anybody. What I did was to follow my heart and kept researching, kept, following my heart, asking questions. When I go to some places, I just send out some, questionnaires and all that, and just ask people, if you would you like to have, watch teenagers talk about their struggles on TV. So, I mean, what I'm talking is a lot of hard work. That's what I'm trying to tell women out there. Be ready to do the hard work. Be ready to, I've talked about not following the status quo. Stand out.
Mm.
If you are called to stand out, own up. Appreciate the fact that God has given you this idea that is not really out there. It's going to
And
be a
run
lot of
with it.
struggle. So where you come work is to work hard to make sure that you follow your dream and you continue going, and also working in public service. I mean, I realized
Exactly.
when the opportunity for me to become social advisor to the governor was there, I saw people mocking me. There's nobody is special advisor on teenage matters, and it also came down to maybe I am just called to just lead. So some of us are called to be pioneer certain things. Do not be afraid to say, okay, nobody is doing it. Nobody has done it before. Let me just go and follow the queue. No. If you are called to stand out and do things, do it. Own up, do it, and keep doing it. With time, the help will come. I don't know if I made sense.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so before I come back, because I want to ask you about specific challenges, other than finding yourself and committing to doing what you were called to do, regardless of the challenges. I know that there are the challenges or specific what do I use now? Specific limitations that women face when they decide to go all out. I'm going to come back and ask you that in a bit, but I just want Eketi and then Excellence to share a bit of their journey so far with us, and then we'll come back and talk about stereotypes, particularly that are related to women, especially in the workplace. All right, so Excellence, you are in the tech world. I respect you. Like I doff my heart for you because I know just setting this up takes a lot of technical know-how, yeah. But you are in the middle of everything tech, and you started from somewhere. Just share a bit of your journey with us and to inspire someone before we get into the details, the nitty-gritty and all of that.
Okay, so for me, growing up, I grew up in a fantastic environment or with a fantastic family that I never had to contend um, with the bias that I'm a lady. So nobody ever told me because you're a woman you can't do this. I went to school and if I qualified for stuff, they just allowed me have it. I represented my school a lot in quizzes, so it was just quite easy for us. So I didn't see any need for that until I got married and I began to realize that because I'm a woman, it was a disadvantage. I never knew that being a woman was a disadvantage, and so I constantly heard things I could not do. Growing up with something different, and then someone that you considered someone you respect, someone whose view you think should mean
Opinion.
something, was putting you down and telling you that no, you can't do this. And here I am, a ball of ideas. I'm always on fire. I'm always having ideas. I want to do this. And then you keep telling me you can't do this. Do you think you can? Do you think it's about being beautiful? You can't do this. So I felt trapped. I felt really trapped. And so when I eventually left the marriage and everything, nothing seemed to make sense. And I was like, where do I start from? Now, being a biomedical scientist is fantastic, but I wanted more out of my life. In Nigeria, most scientists, most of them, about 80 to 85%, are actually doing bench work. I mean, I'm not good with routines. So I wanted something different and I wanted a job that could allow me the flexibilities. Because let's be honest with it, when you become a mom, when you're a woman, there are so many things that'll drag you back. except you don't have a heart. So you have your kids, your life is a little bit trapped. And also for me, I had my baby through CS, I had some complications, and also there are so many things that you just, it's just not easy. And then when you go to the exam hall, you're all writing the same exams. You're not saying the guy had did not have cramps, so or he had cramps, so all of you are going to be examined the same way. So when I came out, of course, when I went for a job, and I was telling a woman that, oh, I had to take my son for immunization, and she's like, this is why women do not rise. If you want to go far, you can't come to the office and be giving me this kind of excuses. You have to sort it out. Any way you can sort it out, just sort it out. Don't bring those kind of excuses. And she looked at me and said, Excellence, there's so much in you, but you need to put your best foot forward. Get the help if you want to, do whatever you have to, but never bring this kind of excuse to work again. I felt annoyed. I felt she's a woman, so she should understand what I'm saying, but I didn't know better. Eventually, I'm able to understand that, okay, yes, that is true. But those are things that we tend to contend with daily. So when I started tech, my kid inspired me. I wanted to do animate content for him to be able to communicate my values, my culture, what I wanted to say, because he was addicted to cartoons. He would rather watch cartoons. And I found it quite interesting. I was at home, I was flexible, and a lot of people wanted to learn it. But we found out that beyond using animations to simplify learning, animations could actually help drive advertisement and conversion for businesses. And so, me that was focusing on learning, many businesses were rushing me, come and do ads for me, and all of that. And that's when I looked at it, okay, I'm going to start tech. I wanted to do my graphics, and I'm like, every time I want to do flyer, they'll say 5,000. I went to learn how to do it by myself. Oh, social media, come and do 30K to do content. Oh, no, I went to learn content by myself. So I was at a point where I tell most women, I said, you're doing the way you're doing all this mess and all the things because you have
People that
alternatives.
you're relying on. Yeah.
Sure, you have alternatives. You have so many alternatives. So you just think you can do this, do that. For me, I didn't have alternatives. So it's either I make it or I make it. There's no two way in between. So I decided no, I had to do this. And some people would say I don't have money for lessons. No, you don't have to have money. I said with YouTube, I said with Google. If I learn this one, I will monetize it and use the money to learn this one. Then I went to full stack development. Then I went to full stack web development. Then I went further. Then I went to apps and all of that. I kept reinvesting in myself because I wanted to be more. And I think one thing I should mention here that helped me was after I left the marriage, I was surrounded by people that believed in me. And so constantly they'll tell me, no, you can. Excellent. You're really smart. You're doing well. They kept encouraging, they kept pushing, and all of that. And I saw help. So help has allowed me to do all that I can do. So I have help. My mom would help me. I'm not around right now, but I know she can take my son to school and bring him back and, things like that. So as a woman, the question is, can you have it all? Absolutely, but not at the same time, not at the same time. So those are things that's basically has been my journey. And today it's been how many years, and I'm so excited about where I am. And it makes me every day I try to show women that you can do it. I moved from I had a dream of being an actress.
Hello. Okay. Seems like we lost her for a bit. Hello. Ekesi.
Sorry, my network. So I
Oh,
moved
okay.
from
She's back
being
on.
an absolute novice on business and tech to now really doing a whole lot of business and technology in
And
different
teaching
spheres.
other people.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so you can do it. You can actually move. You can start from scratch. You can start again. When I left my ex-husband, I had just my certificates in my handbag and just my son, but I was able to build again from absolutely nothing. So absolutely, you can do anything.
Awesome. Awesome. Inspirational journey. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so Eketi, you have taken a different turn, got called to the bar, and then you go into full swing writing and authorship and content creation. What's the journey been like? Has it been easy? Was it an easy transition? Have you had any challenges?
Um, Thank you for this opportunity to be here with this lovely woman. Excellence, thank you for your story. I really enjoyed that last thing you said about having it all. Yes, women can have it all, just not at the same time. And I don't think men can have it all at the same time either.
Mm.
So, for me, it was, how do I put this? I think if I had $1 for every time I heard, is that how you would do it in your husband's house before I
Mm.
turned 15? If I had $1 for every time I heard that before I turned 15, I'd probably be a millionaire
A
by now.
trillionaire.
Because
I
or a
know.
trillionaire or a gazillionaire, you know.
Yeah.
It was this repeated narrative. You don't even know you're listening. You don't even know you're hearing it, but it's there. It's
Mm.
said over and over and over and over till it becomes
And
something that you're
thinking into your
conscious of.
subconscious.
Thank
True.
you.
Mm.
It becomes
Yeah.
something that you're conscious of. Am I dressing well? You know,
Mm-hmm.
because this is how I'm supposed to do it in my husband's house. Am I eating well? Am I doing acting properly? Am I down to how you sit in public transport? Everything was constructed about around this idea of your husband's house. And so when I graduated, I knew that law was not the road I wanted to take. But I couldn't, how do I put it? I wasn't emphatic about this thing, this thing I wanted to do. Was I sure? It was this hazy idea. I don't know how to explain it. You know, when you have a hazy idea about something you want to do, but you don't
You
have the
can't place
specific.
your fingers on it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I had this hazy idea that it wasn't law. I knew I wanted to do something in communications. I knew I wanted to do something in writing or in the arts. But, that wasn't the road that people were taking. I mean, how do you wake up in the morning and tell your parents who have paid an enormous amount of money for you to go to school and study the law that they are not going to get a future judge or a future son or even a future magistrate? They're going to get a writer. What is writer? What are you writing?
What are you
Do you
writing
understand?
about?
And for me, it was a conflict of sorts because both my parents write a lot. In fact, they are the ones who encouraged me when it came to books. They bought me lots and lots of books. They taught me how to write. And so it was something that I struggled with. Why is this thing that I want to do not something that is considered prestigious enough, for me to do? So by the time I got to 26, I think that thing had gotten into my head where I'm like, okay, I think this is the age for marriage, right? I have to get married now. And so I remember having this conversation, with my father about getting married. And my dad looked at me and said, how much do you have in your account? And I didn't have much money then. I think I had maybe 150,000 or something. He said, do you have a master's? And I said, no. Do you have a PhD? And I said, no. He said, so you're poor and not completely educated and you want to get married. And I'm like, ouch, my spinal chest, me poor. So now he's saying that it was sort of the catalyst that made me say, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this thing that I want to do. And you never really understand just how much people hate the idea. Many people hate the idea of a woman having her own voice until you decide to chart a course that is different from what everybody's doing. I mean, we
Mm.
saw it when we were in secondary school. You would have a class full of 30 boys with only
Mm.
4 girls in the class doing technical drawing or doing
Yeah.
science. It was always like that. And then in the arts, you have so many girls and maybe a few boys. And it was always like that. You want to do different, and people are like, oh no, you're a girl. Why don't you want to do nursing? Why don't you want to do this? And then becoming a female lawyer attracted some kind of negative attention that I didn't even know existed before I studied the law. So I had people tell me things like I had men who would express their interest in getting married to me, but then turn around and tell me, you're not going to practice law, right? Because I heard that. Some of them will tell you, I heard that. Some of them will tell you emphatically, female lawyers are stubborn. Female lawyers will not be hear word. You people, you will not be submissive. I want a wife who is submissive. First of all, uncle, I'm not agreed to marry you. So this thing you're talking, I don't understand. Are you addressing me? Like you will not be submissive. So in fact, I had one who went as far as telling me how she would get me a shop to manage, and I said, yeah, with my degree, I will come back and manage stuff. Hi, okay.
That would be different if that's what you actually wanted to do with yourself.
Exactly. It would be different if that's what I wanted to do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with managing
Mhm,
a store or running
mhm,
your own
mhm.
business or whatever. But that's not what
Exactly.
I wanted to do. But this person wasn't even asking. And then another get married, I would resign from work and then we'll have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and then I would breastfeed them each for 6 months. In fact, he had our life, he had our life all
All
mapped
planned
out.
out.
Do you
Yes.
understand? And
Mm,
there was always
yeah.
this thing. You would have the slightest disagreement with someone or an argument with somebody, and the person would say, I don't blame you now. You're a lawyer, that's why. And I'm like, I'm not arguing because I'm a lawyer.
I was
I
first
have
a
an
human
opinion.
being. Yes.
I was a human
There's
being. I was a
I
person
have,
with my
oh
own
goodness.
opinions before I became a lawyer. In
Like
fact,
we
one
have to deal
time,
with this all the time.
do you understand? This is
It's
something you
crazy.
deal with. In fact, one time I had this argument so bad with someone that I loved, whose name I'm going to call, aka my mother, right? It was so bad that I remember running into my room and coming back with my LLB certificate, my ML, my BL certificate, and I said to her, I'm going to tear it. So when I tell it, no more certification, I'm no longer a lawyer and I can
So
argue
that
with you in peace. Are we good? And she's like, has it gotten to that?
it never
Somebody
reached.
cannot argue with you again. But that was how bad it was. That I would be in spaces where I couldn't speak. Because the moment you start speaking and you're speaking intelligently, someone would say, are you a lawyer? No wonder you're disagreeing. No, I'm disagreeing because what you're saying is trash. Let me talk. So anyway, in that whole frame of mind, I said to myself, there was pressure coming from my family, there was pressure coming from my friends, there was pressure coming from people I admired. But I said, Eketi, this life is your own to live. And so when I left the Supreme Court in 2013, I said, I'm going to become a writer. And I remember saying this to someone that I love. I said to her, I'm going to become a writer. And she laughed because she asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And I said, I want to write. And she laughed so hard that tears were coming, streaming down her cheeks. And she's like,
Why?
Kai Eketi, I've always known you to be funny. Hey, well, so what did you say you want to do for a living again? And at that point, I was so discouraged. Well, more like disappointed that I didn't want to share my further dreams with her. So I said, I'm actually looking at a couple of law firms that I'll join. There's one in Wuse where I used to be there before. Then there's one I'll probably join. And she said, hey, now you're talking. And I left that day knowing full well in my heart that I was going to write. And I started writing. And when I started writing, some people would say, Eketi, nobody makes money from writing. In fact, when I started my blog in 2011, someone discouraged me strongly so, and it was somebody I respected. She said to me, if you're not writing gossip like Linda Ikeji, don't bother. If you're not doing society weddings like Bella Niger, don't bother. But for me, I wanted to write everyday stories, just stories about going to the farm, going to the market, stories about everyday people. But I was strongly discouraged from doing that. And so I left that blog for a long while. And you know how life is. Life is very funny. That dream that you have that you won't do because of what people will say. 2 years later, three
Still,
years later, someone will come along in your
yeah,
lane and live
exactly.
that same dream for you to see, and it will be
Yeah.
peppering you. And
Yes,
that's
that's it.
exactly what
That
happened to
that's
me.
what Atichichi was saying.
Yes.
You have to decide to walk your
Decide that this is
lane.
what you're going to do exactly.
You have to decide
So
to walk your lane because you will find someone doing it, and it will shock you. Because you'll be like, "But I thought of this thing first." Well, nobody has a
exactly,
monopoly of
exactly,
ideas. Yeah,
exactly. And
so
that's
true.
what God does with ideas. Because God is not a creator of vacuum. He doesn't abide vacuum. So you don't do
True.
it, someone else will.
Someone
Like Jesus said, you're not going to praise me, stones are going to do it. And
else.
so that's what happened. I said to myself, Eketi, whether you know someone who's making money from writing or not,
Or not.
whether
Go
people
do
say
your
writers
thing.
are broke or not, you're the
So
one you're going to write. And so I started. I had been writing on Facebook for a long time, but it wasn't for commercial purpose. In fact, my first job starting out on my own was my first business was editing. I was editing. And then I got a call from someone. And the person said, oh, Eketi, I saw so and so thing that you wrote. Please, can you write this thing? Can you come and be a co-author on this book for me? And I'll pay you 50,000 naira. And I'm like, wait, what? oh
That time
wow,
you must have been shocked.
they are paying people. And so, I started doing that. And I didn't even set out to be like a thought leader or anything. It was just me sharing my ideas on social media. And then another person came and said, oh, um, I think that one was when I started posting my stuff on Twitter. And someone came and said, oh, my brand is looking for a storyteller who can craft a story around our brand, and we need you to send your invoice. We'll send you a brief. First of all, what is brief? I don't know. What is this invoice they're talking? I don't know. I said, Ma, hold on, let me call you back. Oh, and I ran. I googled brief invoice. It was not clear. I called my friend. I said, Miss, please, what is this brief and invoice they are talking about? And she told me. And I went back to the lady, and in my mind, because I didn't know what I was worth, I said, you know what? I'm going to charge this woman 200,000. If she bargain, last I'll collect 150. This is me being very extravagant because the brand that she called is quite popular. And I said, these people, they have money. So I sent her an invoice for 200,000 naira. And she replied and said, oh, sorry, our budget for you is 350,000 naira. Please, can you redo your invoice to reflect this? I said, eh? They are going to pay me
Wow.
350,000 naira to write a story that I can do in my sleep. Hey, I used to hear six figures, six figures. So this how me to have entered six figures. Hey, she's got big way. And so
Oh my
I
God.
sent her, I sent her an invoice, right? And let me tell you
Okay.
something. By the time money started coming in, I was not hearing any dissenting voices again. In fact, the money blessed
Anymore.
me. Hey,
Yeah,
the thing
that's
closed
it.
my ears. Anybody that said
Everyone
you can.
believes in results.
Thank you. Anybody that told me you can't make money unless you're publishing books, you can't become a well known writer. I was named as one of the 100 most influential Nigerians 3 years in a row. I had not published a book at that time. People were like, oh, you
Wow.
can't be known as a popular writer if you've not written a book. I am living proof that you can be well known, internationally so, as a writer without having written a book. And I had proved that point. And when I proved that point, I said to myself, okay, it's time for us to
Need
get
to
published
write a
because
book.
I had
Yeah.
done that. People were starting to demand for my work. And so by the time that happened, the next person came. Oh, please. In fact, the second person came and brand company came. They said, oh, we want you to do this. Please send us your fee. And I didn't know what to charge. Like what anti oh god, sorry, I'm forgetting your
And
name. Chichi
Chichi.
said, Auntie Chichi said, I didn't know who to go to for pricing. What's the price we're supposed to ask for? There was no standard price. And then the people whom I knew that were in those areas, when I go to them and I send them messages and ask, please, what do you charge? They became deaf. Like they won't answer me. They won't give me any response. Some of them will say, my dear, just fix what you think is good for you,
Which means that
which
one
wasn't helpful.
yes,
It
we have
wasn't
a
helpful. There was
lacuna.
no standardization. Exactly.
Yes,
So I
we can now identify the fact that one of the stereotypes that we need to break through as
yeah,
women is availability of mentorship in the areas that you are interested,
exactly.
and Eketi, I'm sure you're a born storyteller. In fact, if we let you go on, I'm
Okay,
sure you're going to take up
no,
the entire three
please
hours. So we're just
feel
going
free
to
to
go
cut
to,
me off.
yeah. Yeah,
Feel
so
free to cut
we're
me
going
off.
to go to I think that this is one stereotype that we have identified. Everything that you have said resonates with a part of what Auntie Chichi has said, a part of what Excellence has said, a part of what I have experienced, trying to diversify. In fact, we keep talking about emerging areas of law practice and all. And I found that in the areas that I was interested, I kept looking for who to ask questions, who to guide me, So
Yeah,
I think that that's one key stereotype that we need to look out for, be for others, the people that we hoped that all people would be for us. And we probably didn't find it, or when you found it, you had already had to make mistakes and correct a lot of things by yourself, before you got to that point. So we're just going to talk about other stereotypes. And Chichi, you being a public servant, being in the eye of the public as a TV presenter, a radio presenter, what gender stereotypes, gender bias in the workplace have you faced that you would like to see challenge, that you like to see others be on the alert, on the lookout for, because we're talking about women today. We're talking about what we are challenging. We're talking about creating a challenge and an alert world. So what are these things? Because a lot of these things are shrouded in grammar. It's all easy to say challenge, it's all easy to say alert, but people need to know specifics, that we need to break it down so people know, okay, what you're experiencing is not unique to you. Other people have experienced it, and this is how they have handled it.
Okay, thank you once again. So one of the let me speak from the angle of working in government.
Yeah.
There are no a lot of young women. I mean, there are a lot of people in the political space who are
Yes,
trying
yes.
who are trying to find platforms and
Their
find
path.
yes, their path. But let me state, because recently I went to speak somewhere and a lot of girls came to me and said how a lot of the women there are not giving them opportunity, are not allowing them to come for mentorship and blah blah blah. It's the same thing I'm going through till today. I need to change this today. So let me say till today. You have women who are supposed to just guide you, help you, because I mean we all know that the men, general, not just those in politics, men are just they're just wolves. This issue of sexual harassment, is everywhere, and it's a
In
lot
the
more,
workplace,
yes, in the workplace, and it's a
within
lot more in political
within the
space.
political space.
Yeah, because they have power, so people think they can do things and get away with it.
Yes, yes,
And then
yes. It's more clouds.
we don't have women who would ask some of us that are very young to for them to shadow us, or what's the word again, for us to shadow them. How once we are coming in with their name that oh, this person sent me, people will be afraid. But a lot of these women don't even have that. They don't care. Like they want you to go and face your own your own struggles, and if you fall, they will use you as scapegoat. If you misbehave, if you get exposed, they will put you out there. So I took time when I got into. I mean, I never knew I was going to be in politics. Never. When I started out, I never knew I was going to. My path was going to get there. That's the truth. But when I knew I was getting there, I had to start doing a lot of research. I'm someone, I observe a lot. I take time to observe things. I don't like to rush into things. And this is also me telling a lot of young people who want to go into some industries or organizations, take time to study what is going on there. Do your research. Don't just dive in and just want to, I see people, they come in and they just want to start doing things. Before you know it, they get messed up. They get totally messed up because you didn't do your findings very well. So I took time to do a
True.
lot of stuff. And I realized that a lot of people, that didn't do their homework very well, they got in trouble. You say the wrong things, or you do things with the people, you get in trouble. So what I did was to caution myself, was also one of the things I told myself. So the people put their foot down, that say, okay, I'm not going to sleep with anybody because I want to get this far or thought far. Most times they get relegated, they get dropped. They make you look like you're not significant whatsoever. They don't invite you to places you are supposed to be and all that.
Mm,
I
mm.
had to I had to talk to myself. I said, okay, if I'm not going to do this other thing, I have to give them something more that would always make me to be called to be at the table. So what I now started telling myself, where do you belong? In the bedroom or the boardroom? And that was when I figured it out, and I started using that word, the boardroom. I belong at the boardroom. So what I had to do was to find my value and start giving value. When you give value, people will come for you because of the value you are giving them. So most times when these men come to me to say, Chichi, let's meet up in so hotel, I'll tell them, do you want boardroom or bedroom? Anybody can be in the bedroom with you. Any girl, any woman can sleep with you, but not everybody can give you value. If you want my brain, I will give you my brain. Do you want my breast or my brain? Choose one. So I don't even beat about the bush. I tell them, I come straight. You want my brain or you want my boobs? Any girl can give you their boobs, but not everybody can have what is up here. So when I started putting my foot down, and most times these people will realize that they prefer my brain because I'm bringing something to the table. I'm making them relevant. I'm bringing a lot of ideas that would move them forward and all that. It became a bit more easier. And that is what still keeps me very relevant. Like I tell people, I can easily walk away from anywhere because I know no attachments. Even if I walk away, I'm not going to be the one to lose. The person that I'm dealing with will lose more because I've given you so much more than you think you would have given me. So I would go with my value and look for somewhere else and give you. So for young women that want to come into, you know, the political,
Space.
be sure to have value to give. It is your value, the value you are bringing to the table that would
Set
make
you
you,
aside.
yes, that will set you aside. And there are so many competitions, so many other people that can do, dress very well like you, look pretty like you, that can, they have beautiful skin. I mean, when it comes to even trying to, bring the beauty part, there are a lot of people that are finer than you. But what is that thing that you have that nobody has? What is that value that when people mention your name, it's just synonymous to your name? What is that thing? When people think of teenagers, they always call Auntie Chichi. When people think of, what is that thing that when people think of, they are calling your name other than something else? So we women should, most times when we talk about equality, I tell them I'm not dragging equality with no man. When you know my value, that's when you will call me to the boardroom. I don't want to drag any space with nobody. I don't want to start doing, do you know who I am? I don't belong there. All I want people to know me for is the value I'm bringing to the table. If I'm valuable to you, then come to me. If I'm not, I mean, let me stay where I am. So women should focus more on what they are bringing to the table than every other thing. Thank you.
Wow, wow. This is quite a perspective. It's so easy to focus on all the things that we feel that we're being denied as women. This is wrong here, this is wrong there. But I do really agree that what our focus should be on is preparing yourself, building yourself up so you can have value to give. When you have value to give, it's easier, for you to receive whatever it is that you think is due you. But if you are waiting for something to be handed down to you, that's where there's a problem. Awesome. Thank you, Auntie Chichi. Thank you so much. Um, uh, Excellence, please could you share with us, have you faced any peculiar stereotype in your world as a techie person, in techie train or excellence advisory? Because a lot of times we get to hear of workplace gender bias. Women get less payment for doing the same job. Have you experienced stuff like that? Do people price you down because you're a woman, or is it just tied to what value that you provide? Like Auntie Chichi just mentioned.
Okay, for me, to be honest with you, most times when it comes to this gender inequality thing, it's not so easy to relate because we are currently in a season where it's so sweet to be a woman in tech. The environment is not saturated. So when
Yes,
you're
you're in the
good,
minority.
you're good.
True,
Yes.
true,
I keep
true.
telling people, I keep telling my students, just be so good. And we've worked with quite a number of people that they contacted me because I'm a lady. And so they're like, we have too many men on our team. We just want a woman to neutralize it. And for them, they just want someone that is good, both locally
Mm,
and internationally. They will come, we just want to balance the whole UN stuff. So we want a lady. And so there are not so many women that are going into tech. And those that are going into tech are doing it shallow. They're not being so good. So I keep telling women, this is a leveler for you. Like you come in and you become a queen. Just be good. Just be good. Nobody, they're not even looking at your face. They're not looking at, nobody is trying to harass you. Nobody, they will even forget it in their head to just switch. All they're thinking of is what she's bringing to the table. So being in tech is one place that I always say, if you're struggling anywhere, just come to tech. It's not quite easy, yes, but if you're determined. So for me, for us in tech, or for me, I've not really experienced that. I've even seen my gender as an advantage for me because it gives me a whole lot of
Wow.
doors, and it makes it easier for me. But the thing is, like she said, and like I'll always say, just be good at what you're doing and focus on what you're bringing to the table. So be good. Don't just fluff. Don't just give garbage. Like, study. And another thing I always tell people with tech is constantly evolving at a rapid pace. So you think you know
You
something
have to
today, you
keep
learn
up.
this platform, another one is coming the next day. You have to keep upgrading. And with most women, they are quite complacent. They just get it and they feel they are okay. You have to keep reading. You have to keep learning what's the new language now. What's this platform say? Okay, this one is better than this. You have to keep learning. So it's a challenging field, but it's very beautiful. It's a leveler for women, for us, and I really encourage more women to go into tech. Another thing with tech is that if you're good, you set your rate, you set your time frame. It's beautiful, especially for women that are looking for convenience to work with whatever impasses that you're facing, maybe children, family, this, that. With tech, you can always if you want to work at night, you work at night. Nobody is asking you when will you work. Nobody is asking you. Mm-mm. Once you're good, you will tell them this is the time I want to
What
work.
they need is
This
for
is
you
the
to
time
deliver the value.
deliver. This is when I'll
Mm,
deliver my results. So they just want to deliver the
yeah.
results. So you can always rearrange your life to adjust, and also it's kind of a beautiful space for us. And I just think more women should come on
Come
board.
on
So
board.
for
Awesome.
us, no, honestly, we don't have that kind of challenge.
Awesome. Awesome. I just love the narrative this conversation is taking, because I think that we've spoken a particular narrative long enough. We've talked about discrimination. We've talked about inequality long enough. But the way the world it has evolved, the way the world is now, I think that there's so much space for everyone to do whatever
Absolutely.
it is you want to do. If you
Mm-hmm.
really are intentional about your life, being a woman, I think this is one of the best times to be a woman. Being a woman is
Mm.
no longer a limitation, so to speak. No one is really stopping you. Look at what we just a few days ago were celebrating our very own Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Yes, we say it's the first time a woman has been there. It's the first time an African has been there. But what happened? Someone consistently delivered value. Someone found her niche, stuck to it. I'm an economist, I'm a financial guru, charted her path and stayed on it, and look where she is now, becoming such a role model and an example for so many other ladies.
Mm.
So this brings us to rounding off and talking about we've talked about, things to challenge. We've talked about things to be on the alert for, and I think that it really does resonate that one of the things that women should be on the alert for is the attitude, the general mentality that the world is against you. You know, the focus on what you think your limitations are. I think that limitations exist basically in the mind.
The mind,
If
yeah.
you Yes, if you decide that you are not going to be limited in your mind, no one can be able to limit you. So I'd like to start with Eketi and talk about, what would you say, especially having your background as a lawyer and all, a lot of what the constitution has said, a bit of the history, the times that women have come through. It's very important that whilst we're talking about what can be worked on, we celebrate how far we've come. What would you regard at least one, two milestones? This is where we used to be, this is where we are, so that gives also the inspiration, the hope that we are making progress, and so many other things can happen for women. This is 2021. This is not where we used to be. We're moving, and hopefully in the next 5-10 years there'll be a whole lot more to celebrate. I think that it's important that we lay a lot of emphasis on that, as against all the backdrop of this has been wrong and this has been. So I just like you to in 2 minutes say a few things about that.
Okay. While I disagree that the limitations are a mind thing, I think that is actually a fallacy that we as exposed women fall into all the time. We think,
Okay.
yes, yeah, I believe it's a fallacy that we fall into because I recently came from a village where we had to talk parents into letting girls go to school. The girls have been
In this
dropped
day
out of
and
school.
age,
Of course, and I'm not talking far, I'm talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about a hamlet that is not
no,
far from a town. Yes,
no.
yes.
If I wasn't hearing this from you, I would not believe it.
That is why I always disagree when people say it is a thing of the mind. I said, you're living in a town, you're living in an urban area in Nigeria. I would
Hmm.
like you to take a journey to the
Hmm.
rural areas of Nigeria. And I'm not talking
Wow.
just in the north. I'm talking about in the
Wow.
south, the middle belt. It's
Wow.
horrible. I've spoken with a 13-year-old who dropped out of JSS 3 so that the money that was used to pay her dowry can be used to send her brother to school. Yes, she's 13. Oh, she was 13 when we spoke. She's now 15. She has 3 kids already. These are not unusual. This is a common recurrence in Nigeria. No, don't faint. Oh, I've not even started and you're fainting. Better wake up. No, I'm serious. This is something that happens in almost every rural part of Nigeria that I have been to in the last 3 years. So let's talk about how far we've come. We've come far in that we can go to those places and have those conversations. And unlike before, where people would probably have chased us away, now we have those conversations and you hear things like, so you want her to go to school, who will pay? And we say we will pay. And the
So it's
conversations are
basically about
different.
the
It's,
financial
it's not even
support.
about, no, it's actually not the financial. They bring up that financial aspect as if it is something, is an obstacle to stop you. So when they find out that the financial aspect is not going to stop you, the next thing they come up with is, if she's educated, she's not going to be good for marriage. So you have to show them just how valuable this lady is going to be if she becomes educated. So you have this thing where if we're in the north and we're talking to parents in the north, we say things like, when she goes to school and she has the job, she'll be able to give her husband money and her husband will be able to help the family. And then they nod, it makes sense. Then when you come to the south, you change the narrative to, if she goes to school and she gets a job, she will not depend on you. She'll also be able to take care of not just herself, but occasionally her siblings if they need help. These are narratives that are different from different sides of the country. So these things exist. Women have come so far, but there is much farther to go. However, we celebrate how far we've been able to come. More and more women in the rural areas are signing up for school. And I'm talking about adult education also. More and more girls are coming to school. We're having more and more outspoken, women who are saying the shackles
No
are
to
too
wrong.
heavy. I'm
Yeah.
not doing this anymore.
Let's let's do
I'm going
better.
to challenge this norm. And it's
Mm.
difficult, to be honest. It's very difficult because most of them who do this, which is what we don't really pay attention to in our societies, they are ostracized. They are
Wow.
not allowed to take part in the women's groups. They are not allowed to do certain things. It goes so far as even not being able to get married in court because they are a shame to the community and nobody's going to collect their bride price and stuff like that. But I'm happy that more and more women are coming out to say, we don't want this. And we're fighting these stereotypes. And we're going to fight it with the last drop of our blood. And we're having women who are saying, see, gone are those days when I will stay in a marriage that is bad simply because of what people are going to say. I mean, you
Sure.
have a whole lot of stereotypes about divorced women and single mothers in our society and this 21st century. So, but you're having more women who are saying, we're not going to stay back and be abused and be, treated horribly just because people say it is not
We
done.
want to stay
We're
married.
going to go ahead and
Yes.
do this thing. Yeah. And for that, I
Yes.
am thankful. We're also having women who are calling out other women for being bad because that's something, in the narrative of women supporting women, a lot of times women are not allowed to tell other women what you're doing is wrong. Don't do
Wrong.
it. A lot of people
Mm.
want to, they want you to be so united. People say, "Oh,
That
did
you,
you vote for the female candidates who came out?" And I'm like, "Why
whether
would I
or
vote for her?
not,
She's not
whether
qualified."
or not,
Do you understand?
exactly,
So I'm also happy
exactly.
that the narrative is changing from the women don't like women narrative, which I hate a lot because it's a very false narrative that women
Yes,
don't help
yes.
women. Women do help women all the time,
A whole lot,
but
yeah.
it's also changing to where women are supporting women. We're not supporting you just because you're a woman,
The
but we're
woman, but
supporting you because
because
you're a
you're
woman who
doing
is
the right
making a
thing.
difference. Yes,
So
and you're
true,
doing the right thing. So yeah,
so
women
true.
have come a long way. Hopefully, these development goals that we haven't seen the half of it, that will be
Yeah,
able in the next decade or so to get at least Nigerian women to a place where it won't be a stigma if you're a single mother, it won't be a stigma if you're divorced, it won't be a stigma if you're something as simple as being a young lady who is living alone. Yes, I've had issues renting
yeah.
apartments
Happens
because I'm
because
a
you're
single
single.
woman. Yes,
Someone
and
needs to
that's
come and guarantee,
exactly.
stand
You have
as
to bring a
surety for
man, you
you.
have to pretend someone is your husband, that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that, we will get to a place where
Change
these
some of those
simple things
narratives.
become,
Yeah,
they become things that are
it become the
non-existent.
norm.
Yes.
True,
But
true.
for women in tech like excellence, I'm hoping that more women will get into tech, that it won't be those things where you want to go and read tech and people say, that's not what girls do now. Girls
True.
do arts, girls do
Nothing.
lawyer,
Mm,
girls do
mm.
nursing. I want us to get to that place. But have we come
Wow.
far? Yes, we've really come far. We have.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Now, this is the importance of these conversations is that they give us an opportunity to first unlearn, and relearn. I'm sure, honestly, because I do a lot of rural outreaches, volunteer for people. Yes, we know that there are places where there's very minimal access to healthcare. People don't are not aware of certain developmental strides and all. But honestly, it shocks me, or it has shocked me to hear that there are environments, there are communities in this day and time in Nigeria where girls are being stopped from going to school, and it just kind of resets my mind. It's important to know that what you're looking at, your perspective is not the only perspective. It's easy to get sucked into your own reality. This is your own reality. And then you think, so the world is different for those, it's still different for those in the urban areas, from what it is for those in the rural areas. And we need to constantly have this at the back of our minds so that when we plan to be available to, bring support to our communities, bring support to younger women, we're not just paying attention to those who have access to possibly this video, access to the internet, who can hear us, who can listen to your story as an inspiration, and to Chichi's story, Excellency's story into tech and all that. There are people way beyond this point. That's such a strong takeaway for me, and I'm so glad that we've had this conversation. Our time is almost up, so I'm just going to ask Auntie Chichi to share with us in about 30 seconds, what you celebrate today as a woman, what milestone for you stands out that you celebrate, in how far womanhood has come, particularly in our cultural milieu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Permit me I would want to talk a bit of what Ekiti said. To
Okay.
be sincere with you, I work with teenagers, but today is International Women's Day.
Mm.
For me, I feel that we having this narrative in our communities is still bent on the women not trying to do what they are supposed to do. If women in these communities, I feel that the word is going around, there is enough information. Why I'm talking like this is because we are using this too. So I was doing a documentary with some people a couple of weeks ago, and they bent on trying to show our children that a lot of children are out of school, a lot of our children are in slum and all that, which is not the truth. These are the things that we use to try to get sympathy from the international world. I disagree. What I told them, I said, no, we need to change this narrative for ourselves. The people that refuse, when we have women in these communities and have refused to tell their husbands that our children will not be married too early, we have gone through this path, and we know that a lot of us have is it IVF or whatever they call it. They have these sicknesses. If they stand up to say we're not going to allow our girls to go through what we went through,
But why
they
do you think they are not
correct.
allowing their girls? I think that, yeah, this is
Exactly.
where we all, Excellence, feel
All
free
of
to
us will
unmute yourself.
have
Oh,
yes, all of
why?
I think that's pretty
Is it because
simplistic because
we're not
when you
empowered?
have, yeah, exactly, when you have a standardization of something, right, you have
Mm-hmm.
people who have accepted the standard, and unless there is an outsider who has a strong enough influence to show
exactly.
this
So
person that the start, so
that's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm going to come from to say, women, what we should be celebrating this year is that let's do more mentorship. If we can mentor more people, I put out something
Okay.
recently that I'm going to go to communities to reach out to teen mothers to tell them that because you had a baby at the age of 15 or 17, it's not enough for you to stop school, drop out of school, and then, just think that your life has ended. So can we encourage more women to stop this, this status quo and start changing things, start mentoring these girls to say, because I went through this, I'm not going to allow you go through this. We
Okay.
are, for
Okay.
me, I will still say that a lot of women are not helping themselves. Good for, Eketi, maybe the industry where you belong to, you have women that are helping you. In politics, it is not true. We are dealing with that. A lot of women don't want you to come up to where they are. So whatever they will do
Wow.
to tear you down, they will tear you down. That's what I am going through in politics. And for me, it's giving me that mindset that I need to change the narrative to help other girls that want to come into politics, to give them the ladder. Some of us, all we need is the ladder, and they will get to where they are going to. So for us, I mean, we can only talk from the angles where we are, from the industries where
Yeah,
we
your
belong.
perspectives. Very true.
What I want to celebrate is to push more women to say, I'm going to mentor, even if it's just one girl this year, even if it's just 10 girls, mentor them in the industry that I belong to or where I am. If it's a ripple effect, if mentor one person, that person goes to mentor another person, that person go another person, that other person goes to mentor, and
So
it just
true.
continues. I think, for me, that's how I work so that I don't have the headache that this is the general narrative. How can I be just of help, just to one person? And as I'm helping that person, I'm telling you, please, the way to pay me back is to go back and mentor someone else. And it just trickles down. So I think that is what I want to celebrate this year, to say I want to encourage a lot of women to start thinking mentorship. That's the only way we can change up things. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so now I'm just saturated. Like, really, it just means that there's so many perspectives to this. You know, you are seeing the world from what you have experienced. There's no I think it was Chimamanda who talked about the danger of a single story. Yeah, it's so easy to get sucked up in your own reality. So your own reality, and that's why it's important that more women begin to collaborate. More women begin to talk about things, have conversations like this, so that we know that, okay, this is the reality here. This is the reality this other place, and no one reality overshadows the other, so that this is happening for you and not happening for another person. It just means that, okay, so how can we find a way to bridge the gap between, what ought to be and what is, depending on your own particular environment and experience. This is it's so wonderful that we've done this. I'm so happy that you ladies have come on board and shared so much about your personal experiences with us. And I'm hoping that we have more opportunities, because these conversations, they lead to, if we actually follow up on them, they lead to actions, they lead to actionable steps. And so
Can I say
today,
something?
oh
Can I
yeah,
say
sure,
something? Okay, I
sure,
think
sure.
that's another thing that is limiting women, and that's religion. So they put us in a
Mm,
box, and then they tell us the Proverbs 31 woman. And so most women are not sharing their how, they are sharing their what. They're not telling you
mm.
how they did it.
How they
They're not
got to where
telling you
they,
why they
so
did it.
true, so
So
true.
because they're not, you see them up there getting stuff. They're not telling you that my mom is taking care of my kids, so I put so and so processes in place. So you don't
Which
know.
is still, which
You
still
are
brings us
pushing.
back to the mentorship thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you are
Because
pushing.
if you're
You're
a true
struggling.
mentor, you will tell
You're
us your
trying.
struggles.
Thank you.
Yes.
So
My
women are
sister,
not
we thank God.
speaking the truth.
We
Yeah.
thank God.
Exactly. That's the word. That's the truth. They tell you, they tell you the real story. They won't tell you the how. And so most ladies are deceived, and they feel, am I not doing enough? Maybe this is not just for me. Maybe it can never
Yes.
happen to me. Maybe I'm
I'm
just
never going to be
different.
able to do
You know,
this.
I'm
Yes.
thank you,
True.
because they don't know
True.
the back end story. So I think more women should speak out. And most women, it's not like they don't want to speak out though, but they don't want to be judged. They don't want people to see them inadequate. They don't want,
They want,
Exactly.
so
they want to present.
it's
They want to present the front of, I
the
am a strong
perfect,
woman. I have
yes,
it all under control.
yes,
Auntie Chichi, I know
yes.
that we've had this conversation a number of times. In fact, recently Auntie Chichi shared a video where I think it was Mrs. Alakija,
Bukun,
right?
Bukun,
Yes, it was
Ibukun
a
Awosika.
Wasika. Yes, shared a video where she was talking about specific things. In fact, I had a good laugh watching that video. I wasn't sure whether I should share it with my husband or not. At some point, she said, "Who needs to know who cooks the food? Shebi, what they need, he wants to eat a wedu. Let the wedu be available. Who needs to
Simple.
know how the wedu is there?" And this is
Exactly.
it's so true. And then this Proverbs 31 woman narrative is not real because people don't read it. If you go down, the woman had servants, so this woman
Yeah.
Abi.
had people that, yes, she had people that she was instructing. Like scripture says that she wakes up early and instructs her handmaidens, her servants. They do this, they do that. So I don't know who sold us this narrative that a Proverbs 31 woman is a woman who does
Knows
everything,
everything.
by herself. Like, hello, did you drop from the skies? There's only so much you can do. A Proverbs 31 woman actually is a woman who diversifies, who multitasks, who knows how to delegate appropriately. It's a narrative that we really, really need to. At some point in my life, I used to feel guilty about. I was like, that's how, and I'm not looking for who will help me and do this, who will help me. But I found that the more help I had with some of the things I could delegate, I could now focus on the things that I can't delegate. I can't delegate someone doing this for me now, but someone can clean my house. It doesn't require my expertise. It doesn't require my brain. Very important narrative to change, and it still brings us back to the issue of true mentorship. Pick one woman today, pick one girl today, and say, okay, I'm focusing on telling this person what is right, how I have come this far. I'm going to share my journey with this person, no holds barred. Of course, there are things that are private about you that nobody should be. But as it relates to your journey, this is how I got to this place. I didn't fly here. In fact, I know that Auntie Chichi at some point had to take out time, to be with her kids for a while. And then she shared how her mother-in-law had to come on board and help her on the home front so she could focus on the things that she's doing. I mean, she's doing a whole lot of things. She's reeled it out. She's a counselor. She's a presenter. She works in public service. She's working with a counselor. Like, who can do all of these things and then be available in the family 24/7? Did you fall from heaven?
Nobody.
It's not possible.
Even
So
Wonder Woman cannot.
I beg that Wonder Woman narrative. Let me be Wonder Woman.
We need to kill that. We need to kill that narrative of the strong woman.
We need to redefine. We need to redefine what strength means.
Don't
What
even
does strength
redefine
mean?
it. Kill it. Because the moment you use the word strong, you take away a large part of someone's humanity. You set them up for failure. Once you do that, you set them up for failure. Because
that's true.
They are not. Nobody's strong. Everybody's just living. Exactly.
Yes. At some point, someone needs another person to hold them up. Yeah. So I think that's why I talked about redefining, because I think that a lot of times we equate strength with perfection. Yeah, strength doesn't mean perfection. It just means
Yeah.
that, okay, I'm able to, we're talking about all of these things that it starts from mental strength, even the willingness to be able to stand for what you believe in and go all
Mm.
out to get it. Yeah. This has been so amazing. I'm sure that we could go on and on. So I'm just going to allow us a few seconds to say our final words and we'll wrap it up here. Hopefully, we'll get to do this again. Maybe if not this year or the next International Women's Day, and then we'll come with our scorecards and check how far we have gone. Thank you very much for being here. So just share your last words and then we'll call it a day.
So for me, my last words to you is just do it anyway. Just do it. Just do it. Stop
Mm.
trying to overthink things, overfigure it out. Just put your foot in the water. Just start. Just do it, and you'll be amazed at how far you can actually go.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know you said that to me a number of times and it does work. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, Eketi, where are you? Your village people, are
Okay,
they at it again?
sorry, my village people took my life, so I had to find a different place to stay. So yes,
Okay.
for me, it's about doing that thing that you know in your heart that you were born to do. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. It might take time. Sometimes there may be very strict consequences for towing your own path, you know. I can't lie and say I didn't have consequences. I did. For a while. It was really a struggle between my father and I about not practicing law and all of that. But at the end of the day, what gives you peace? Do that thing, and do it not just for yourself but with others in mind, knowing that
Mm,
people are looking up to you. And
true.
in terms of mentorship, I think that we have to, like Auntie Chichi said, we have to be more intentional about mentoring. I used to be very terrified of mentoring people because you never really know how it turns out. Sometimes you have these mentees who are not coming to you because they want to learn, but because they want to take and take and take, and then you find
Handouts,
yourself, yeah, in a
being
position that
exhausted.
is exactly.
Mm,
So but
mm,
we need to, get to a point where we have like structured programs where we mentor girls, and far beyond mentoring, just being their friends, and getting to hear what they have to say and actually listening to what they have to say and looking for solutions. Even if it's something you don't know, you reach out to, someone else, and then also be a resource person for other women. I want a situation where women will be able to go to other women and say, how did you do this? And people will be honest enough to say, this is how I achieved my goals, right? Nobody will come out and say, my sister, it was by the utter grace of God. We know, yes, it was the utter grace of God, but tell us the steps, right? I don't want to run around in the dark. I remember when I was sharing my story about my struggle with pornography, and some people came into my inbox and said, no, don't share those kind of things. So you don't want people to know that you are prone to
you
weakness. You're
had,
a strong woman of God. And
oh,
I'm like, nah, that's not how it is. Like Paul said, I glory in my weaknesses that his strength may be made evident in me. So yes, I hope that we get to
exactly.
that place where women become more resource persons to other women. Yeah. So those are my
Awesome.
last words.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much.
for having me.
Auntie Chichi, you wrap it up. And
Thank you so much for having us. And I mean, next year is too far for us to call us. Next year is
mm,
way.
Yes, so call us next week.
Abby, let's know how many people Eketi has said mentoring. Yeah, will do. Will
Excellent. I
do.
hope you guys. I am huge on mentorship, and I will be glad to, reach out to you guys to mentor my teenagers, young adults that I'm reaching out to. I'll
I'm
be glad to work.
available.
I always
It's
want to
fine.
synergize with other people, partner with people, and do stuff. So, this is my asking for permission to work with you guys. My
Permission granted.
Awesome.
Expressly so.
In fact,
my final question is: women, please be comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
mm,
Be okay with yourself. You see this thing that they call perfection is a
It
mirage,
doesn't
like you
exist.
see, it's a scam. People will want to show you what they want you to see. People
mm,
will show you, especially those people that you are following on social media. I had to unfollow certain people last year, early last year. And when I did that, I started having a very deeper kind of peace. Because these people will come and they show you the bags, the this, the Gucci, the traveling, the this, and you keep feeling like maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm not even
Yes,
hard. They
exactly.
are not like, excellent. I said, AKT, I said, they are not telling us how they are making this. And you go around killing yourself thinking, oh my God, I'm just in the wrong path. I'm doing this. No, be comfortable in your own skin. Find your
Mm,
path, go on your lane, keep working hard, keep building your capacity, keep working hard. Believe me, I am a product of hard work. It does not, I mean, that's one thing I know that may not kill you. If you do it the right way, work hard, work smart. But please do not
mm,
look at other people to compete with them or to compare them with yourself. You will drive yourself nuts. You will end up being depressed. So there's nothing like perfection. Be okay with your mistakes. The mistakes are the things, it's part of your process. It's part of you getting the, I mean, who will tell the story, that you did this without the mistakes that you have made, without the struggles you have made. Nobody will listen to you. The story will not be sweet. I mean, I paid
mm.
attention when she talked about pornography, and she got my attention. All the things with it, that was one of the things that got my attention. Oh my God, because that is her struggle. So you imagine her trying to mentor these younger people. They will listen to her more because she's coming from a place of that what they are dealing with. So there's nothing like perfection. It's a scam. Be comfortable in your own skin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Auntie Chichi. Okay, so we're choosing to challenge. I'm raising. Eketi says she's not challenging anything again. She's a peacemaker now. But I'm raising my hand and I'm choosing to challenge. I'm choosing to challenge the wrong stereotypes, the wrong narratives of um, women are being limited by bias or this or that. We're saying, yes, we agree that there are still places that we need to go to, but I'm choosing to challenge myself to be a better person, more available to the younger generation. I choose to challenge today that I will not be a source of weakness to another woman, but a source of strength. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. So I hope that we get snapshots of us choosing to challenge. But Eketi, if you say that you are now a peacemaker, you want to inherit the earth, no problem. So
Okay, for
I
for
see.
for
Yeah.
this for this brief time, I'll be a preacher of violence. So yeah, let's
Okay,
challenge.
so we choose to challenge.
I
All
pledge to
right.
challenge.
Thank
Oh,
Yes, so
where's
we
my
choose
hand?
to challenge. Happy International Women's
Happy
Day.
International Women's Day to you too. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye. All right. I hope you were able to start the watch party, but you can share the video if you were not able to.
I
Bye.
did. I did. I did.
Good girl.
Thank you, ma. It was a player. Was a player.
I'm ending this broadcast. Secretary, you're not serious person.